What's up, my friends? How you doing today? Well, I just finished a video for the Carpo's Botanicals Kratom channel, which is my other one. I'm sure most of you are aware of that. I'm still wearing my garb from that. I thought I would make another video. And so I'm starting this off just right off the bat without anything in particular in mind to talk about. And sometimes those are the videos that I really enjoy the most. My camera is my counselor, if you will. I guess counselor wouldn't be a very good way. Maybe my psychiatrist, the ones that don't speak back, that just sit, take notes. And I become my own psychiatrist later, if I ever watch the video, but rarely do I actually watch my own videos. I'm a rambler. I went to Goodwill today to pick up a new printer because mine has been giving me problems for months, and I just deal with it. Have to manually feed paper in. The rollers don't pick up paper, and I think, the things that we put ourselves through, when there is a simple solution that will cause us less grief, but we're not willing to take that chance, but it's just laughable. And that's kind of maybe what I wanted to talk about in my subconscious here, is just how we view the little things in life, the little problems that we go through, and the way that we obsess over the smallest thing. I'm just a human being. What else can I say? I'm 41 years old. I've had some bad shit happen to me in my life, and I've had some good things happen to me in my life. I've had some ups, I've had some downs. But overall, I've realized that my perspective is what drives my accomplishments or lack thereof. I posted something earlier on Facebook. As much as I hate Facebook, I still use it, and I posted this picture of a baby crying, and it said, "I had a bad day, so I'm going to get right on Facebook and post about it." And it was kind of summing up a feeling that I have about whiners and victims, the people who want to tell everyone when things are going wrong. Some people really need help, they really need a boost, but doing it through Facebook is not the best way to get attention. You'll get recognized. Random people saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, how are you doing?" It's just kind of... But I'm not judging. I understand that's how some people go about their lives, and to each his own. Really, to me, I can look at the way certain people behave and say, well, that wouldn't work for me. But it's when we start to insult and be bothered by other people that we really start to, I should say, we stop being ourselves. We stop taking charge of our own lives, and we start worrying about other people's lives. And one of the things in my life is to say, live and let live. I mean, that's such a simple statement, but it's really so important. I guess I would say that Nietzsche the philosopher, which is mostly known for saying God is dead, which gives him a pretty negative connotation right away. He had some very interesting philosophies about what it meant to be a slave, and he had various classifications of man in his categories. The artists were doing their thing, but there was the slave, and the part that really interested me about the slave was that it said that the slave is someone who is so bothered and frustrated and annoyed by society that they scoff and scorn others, and their idea is nihilism, that nothing matters. But they take it to the extent that life means nothing, do what thou will, fuck everybody else, as long as I'm getting mine. But it's more than that. Some people are very unhappy with the way their lives are going, so whether consciously or subconsciously, they want to sabotage everyone else's happiness. These are the people who, if you're sitting there groveling about something online, they'll come in and say, "Yeah, right on, fuck these people," or "fuck this world." But if you try to say something positive, they'll say that you're delusional, that you're, floating along on your happy rainbow and thinking that everything's just fine. Even if things are just fine for you, there's some people that want to bring you down to their level. It's like a junkie who doesn't want to hang out unless you do some dope with him because he doesn't want to feel guilty about doing it, and dragging your friends into your addictions and your problems. It's important and crucial for us as individuals to see that when it's happening and get away from it. I have met some negative sons of bitches online, and I've been trolled by some of the best and some of the worst. Some of the people who you can tell obviously that they're seeking attention. Others who you can tell that they're truly upset and angry about life, so they want everybody else to be upset. And there's a variety of different types of people in the way that we, act and why we act that way. To give you a little bit of background, from about 1995 to probably 2005, at least 10 years of my life, I was under the impression that everything was going to fall apart, the economy was going to collapse, government was going to implode, the world was going to go into some random disaster, people were going to die, and we'd all have to rebuild, and that I would be part of that rebuilding in my life, but that I would have to see all this suffering in my lifetime. And because of that, I said, well, taxes don't really matter, nothing really matters, career doesn't matter, fuck it all, let's just do what we do and get by. As an adult, I had to provide for my family, I have to provide for myself, I have to have something to look forward to, and I said, well, I still have to do something, so I'm working, let's say, doing my own, working for myself, but that's something that we all just have to do. We can't just wait for everything to fall apart because it makes it easier, and then we don't have to take initiative. And I'm not saying everyone's that way who is negative about the future, but a lot of people, if they were like I was when I was younger, use it as an excuse to not do anything now. To say, well, why should I be part of this community if everything's going to be done anyway? And it doesn't work. You eventually have to pick up the pieces and say, well, I guess I have to work after all. I guess not just work, and I'm not talking about working at a job, I'm talking about work, life work. And working means working on yourself, working on your family, your career, whatever it may be that moves you, but mostly just working on being human. And it's really easy for people to get dragged down by those negative sons of bitches. I found it much easier to say, well, I'm sorry that you're unhappy in life, but, I can't go through this, I don't know how many times I've typed, like, I've been down this road before and I know where it leads. But there was a time where I'd never been down that road. And I argued with people for weeks on end. And I realized that they were robbing me of my energy. They were taking my energy by me merely responding to their nonsense. A person could type the most brutal thing, and they pick anything they can, they'll call you a cunt, a rapist, a murderer. I've had people tell me that since I wasn't talking about a particular subject, let's say, that I was part of the problem and I was a murderer because I was supporting the drug war. It was just complete nonsense, but I was like, wow, the way that people think and their mentality and the way that they go about making assumptions about others. Put it this way, there are very few people you're going to meet in your life who are going to truly want to understand you. They're not going to be able to overlook how you look, or maybe one aspect of your personality. Some people won't be able to stand the fact that you even drive a certain kind of car, or live in a certain neighborhood, or believe a certain God. And two people would get along completely, and then the minute they find they have different religions, they move apart. This doesn't just happen with friends, this happens with families. Children who decide that they don't want to take the same religion as their parents, and their parents basically disown them. Imagine being a parent and being ashamed of your child and thinking they're going to hell. There's a lot to be said about the different views we have, and that's why it's important to realize that while we're here, if you want to believe that the afterlife is important, so be it. But if it's going to affect your life here, with your own family and friends, then you're going to be the one that suffers. So the ultimate goal is to minimize suffering for the individual, but at the same time minimize it for the group. the old idea of, do what thou wilt. There was a lot of people, especially in the 18 and 1900s, who had that type of, me first attitude. Aleister Crowley is a perfect example. He was a deranged lunatic who had some very fucked up views on what it meant to be human. And it was the do what thou wilt attitude. The only part that was left out was do what thou wilt, but thou shalt harm none other. See? Because unfortunately, the things that people want to do, this is how people legitimize rape culture. As I told my friend earlier, he posted something, I was like, I hate that word, rape culture. There's no such fucking thing as rape culture. That's just a cop-out and an excuse for people to say that it has any culture whatsoever. No, they're primal urges by humans. Don't even give it a word, culture. Because I said basically, rapists should be bitch slapped and tied to a log and floated on downstream. And there are some people would say, but that's my urge, that's what I want to do. But it's not what the other person wants to do. And that's the thing. Do what thou wilt, but thou shalt harm none. And even if the person is a willing participant in what you're doing, if you have brainwashed them, that's the issue. If your happiness comes at the cost of others, even if it's not in that extreme case, it could be that you come home from work and you get drunk every night and act like a fool and treat your family like shit because you use the excuse of, well, I'm off work, this is what I do. We all have to find out the best way to live without harming others and without becoming arrogant sons of bitches and pretending like we know what's better, because that's the opposite end of the spectrum. There are the people who complain and say the world's doomed, and then there are the people who have rose-colored glasses about everything they do. And I really try to live in the middle. You can't pretend like everything's okay all the time. You can't just shut up and just allow the world to go on as it is, or allow the government to go on as it is, or the people who are all up in arms and screaming until their guy's in office, or until their law is passed that they wanted, and then they say, hey, everybody calm down, just let it go. People protest, not just in groups, not just politically, but religious and economic. We protest to protest. The March for Science is coming up on the 22nd of April, and I plan on going to that as well, which seems like it's a dying thing. Science has been ridiculed because it's seen as the enemy now, and I've understood why. It's simple. It ruins all the fun. I mean, people can go on about how scientists have become religious in their own right. They totally have. Many groups of people stick together and say whatever sounds good, and they'll stick to their paradigms regardless of whether new information is introduced. The thing is, if good enough information is introduced, it will change science, whereas with religion, it won't. The religion is the religion. There are no modern interpretations of Christianity after 2,000 years. So, we're evolving, but our belief systems aren't. And science is not the enemy, but it's become the enemy because people think that it's ruining all the fun. I've heard people actually say that, not in those exact words, but that, I had a discussion I've seen. It was between an interviewer and a band, a guy from a band, I won't say the name. He was talking about why he believes in God and why he has the religion he does and how important it is. And he was just saying, look at all the amazing, look at a zebra, look at an elephant. They're amazing, they're miracles. And that person says, well, yes, but what about, why are you so opposed to science? And he said, because every time we want to think something is mysterious, science takes the mystery out of it. I don't see it that way. I see it as science eliminates things that aren't mysterious to an extent, but allows the true mysteries to shine through. Mysteries such as, here I am, a person who's scientific and rational-minded, yet I still believe irrationally that the universe is conscious, that the universe has a mentality, that it's aware. This may be called God or even a belief system. Do I have any evidence of this? No, but it's a fact to me because that's how I feel. It's a different type of knowing that it doesn't matter if it's expressed. That's where religion and science can argue all they want. What matters to me is being able to find something that I can believe unconditionally that makes me happier in life. But in this case, it's not about trying to delude myself. It's about seeing that if the cells in my body are intelligent in their own right, and they work together in my organs, and my organs all work together within me, and then I'm conscious, and I'm within a body of humans that are conscious, that that's an organism, and that the Earth is an organism, that the solar system is another body or another layer. So it just becomes common sense to me, that the universe must be conscious. How could we be conscious if the universe is not conscious? Sorry to end it like that. I don't want to get into that philosophy of religion, but it's people trying to explain that God has to exist. It's just that a personal God doesn't have to exist. You don't have to mean anything. Your life might not have any meaning in the big picture, but here you are. You have to give yourself meaning. You have to give your own life meaning. Can't allow anyone or any system to do it for you. And we start from a clean slate and say, okay, what do I want out of life? I'm still figuring that out too. Peace and love, everybody, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful day.